Hello, yogis. I'm Janice, and today's practice is going to be all about building balance in the legs. We're working towards poses like Warrior 3, which is a balancing pose. And in order to do that, we need to start to experience what it feels like to not always have the ground under us where we expect it to be. So I hope you enjoy this practice. It's going to be great for strengthening, for stretching, and for balancing. It is a great standalone practice or maybe an active rest day for athletes. And it's also good for anyone that just wants to build more strength in their legs and prevent issues like falls and things like that. So we'll start in a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. Feel free to take a block and place it under the hips to raise the hips above the knees if you're feeling tight here. You can also use a towel or a blanket. You'll see I have a couple of props here, some blocks and a couple of towels. I would recommend that you have those at a minimum, just so that you can use them in case you need some modifications here. So we'll start in a comfortable seat, hands on the knees, shoulders and ribs stacked over the hips, chins tucked slightly down and back, extending through the crown of the head, and connect with the breath here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Remembering what Rumi said, life is a balance between holding on and letting go. So in some of these poses, you'll find that if you start to fall, maybe you're holding on too much. Maybe you're letting go too much and then working on finding that balance between the two. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's find our ocean breath here. The difference with this breath is that on the exhale, you're going to just bring a little constriction to the back of the throat and breathe out like you're fogging up a mirror. So we'll first do it breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So the breath becomes audible. You can hear it. On your next exhale, bring the breath in and out through the nose. So using that same constriction at the back of the throat, still hearing the breath on the exhale. And just continue to breathe in that way. The sound of our own breath is soothing to us. So if this is comfortable for you, I encourage you to continue this breathing. It will be a great place for you to come back to if you feel challenged during the practice. Great. We'll bring some mobility in here and some movement. As you inhale, start to bring the chest forward. Exhale, rotating back, arching the back. Inhaling forward, exhaling back, making circles, moving the spine in all directions. You'll feel some movement in the neck, although the head and neck are very relaxed here. Really arching through that upper back where we tend to have some restriction in our mobility, counteracting all that time that we're spending at our computers, on our phones, and then on your next inhale, changing directions. Coming back to that ocean breath. And then finding your way back to center. We'll go into a twist from here. So inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, right hand to the left knee. Left hand drops behind the hip. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. With each inhale, you're thinking about lengthening the spine up through the crown of the head as if there's a string pulling you up by the crown of your head. And then exhaling to twist a little bit deeper. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale to twist, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And then inhaling back to center. Exhale, hands come back down to the knees. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the right side. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale to twist. Inhale, lengthen a little bit more if that's available to you. And exhale, maybe looking out over the back shoulder. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling, hands down to the sides. We're going to move into hero pose here. If your knees or your shins are sensitive, I suggest taking a couple of blocks, placing them under your hips here, like in between your legs. Tops of the feet are on the mat, and you're going to bring yourself down onto those blocks. You can use 1 block or 2 blocks, whatever you need to get the elevation that you need. This takes all the pressure off of the knees and the calves, or the shins, sorry. Inhaling to lengthen up through the crown of the head. If you don't need the blocks, this is what the pose looks like. Hips come in between the heels. Personally, I kind of like the block there. A little tight through there. And then we'll go into a modified reclined heroes pose. So bringing the hands back down behind you, just behind the toes. Fingers pointing towards the knees. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, maybe lifting the head just a little bit. Just stretch out through the throat. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, lifting the chest. Maybe we'll stay here a couple more breaths. Finding that ocean breath. And then on your next exhale, lift the head first, and then come back to your hero's pose. Lifting up, removing the block. Tuck your toes under. You can bring the knees together, a little bit closer together, so that there is about a block's length in between them. And we're going to sit our hips back onto our heels. This is a great stretch for the toes. If it's too much for you, you can stay up like this, or you can relax the feet. But we don't spend a whole lot of time stretching our feet, so this is important. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, palms together, hands to heart center. Finding that ocean breath here, breathing through the challenge. Bringing the arms behind you, clasping the fingers if you can, or bumping the fists. If you're clasping the fingers and you can, start to move the shoulders back, hands down by the hips, and maybe bringing the arms out a little bit to open up the shoulders and the chest. And then releasing, coming onto all fours, tapping out the tops of those feet, wiggling the toes. Bring your wrists and elbows under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. We'll move into some cat-cow poses. So inhaling, chest comes forward, tailbone up. Exhale, arching the back, center of the shoulder blades towards the sky, head down, tailbone down. Inhale, slide the chest forward, tailbone up, belly dips towards the mat. Exhale, arching the back. Just move through a few more of those at your own breath. Finding that ocean breath, keeping the joints stacked for safety. Rooting down through the fingers. Feeling a little bit of a lift maybe in the palm of the hand, keeping the pressure off the wrist. The weight is distributing evenly through the hand. Biceps wrapping back, so your armpits are pulling towards each other. And the eye of the elbow is pointing towards the front of the mat. Good. Find your way back to stillness, back to your tabletop, neutral spine. And we'll start here by lifting the right leg and pushing it out behind us, reaching through the foot. Then tap the toes to the mat. Lift the foot, tap the toes to the mat, lift the foot, tap the toes to the mat. If you feel pretty stable here, reaching the left hand out while you lift that right foot and bringing them both down, lifting and coming down, lifting. And here, if you're feeling good, bend the right knee and see if you can reach the left hand around behind you and grab the inside of that right foot, pushing the right foot into the hand for tiger pose. Trying to keep the hips squared here, pushing down through that hand and through the left knee and foot, and then exhale, release. Great. We'll do that on the other side. So joints are stacked, pressing down through the hands. Inhale, lifting the left leg. Exhale, tap the foot. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap, keeping the hips square here, pointing towards the mat. This time start adding the arm in. Inhale, reaching long through the hand and the foot, then tapping down. Reaching long, tapping down, reaching long, hold here, maybe bending the left knee and reaching the right arm back for the inside of that left foot. I'm looking over the right shoulder. Pushing the foot into the hand, trying to keep the hips square to the mat. And exhale, release. Good. Shake it out here, moving the hips to the right, looking over your right shoulder, hips to the left, looking over the left shoulder, wagging the tail. Bring your toes together, knees wide apart, hips back to the heels, arms out in front of you, bringing the forehead to the mat or to a block. Child's pose. Maybe rolling the forehead back and forth on the mat, giving yourself a little massage. Stay here as you inhale and exhale. Feeling the back of the body fill with air. Feeling the air reach all the parts of your lungs, front, back, sides, all the way to the bottom of those lungs. Great. Finding that ocean breath. On your next inhale, slide all the way forward onto your belly. Hands are underneath the shoulders, but we're not putting any pressure into the hands. We're going to use the muscles in our back as we pull the elbows back, shoulders back, contract the back muscles to lift the chest up off the mat for baby cobra. And exhale, coming down. Inhale, contract and come up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, contract and come up. Exhale, coming down. Tuck all 10 toes so you can feel them on the mat like you felt in your toes pose earlier. Pressing deeply into the hands, into the fingers. Start to lift your hips up and back for your downward facing dog. You can bend the knees here as you lift the tailbone towards the sky. Biceps are by the ears. You don't want to go too far beyond that. You'll hyperextend your shoulders. So biceps by the ears. Biceps wrapping back, so the armpits are coming towards each other, and again, that soft part of the elbow is facing the front of the mat or turning towards the front of the mat. Knees can be bent. You can start to straighten the knees as long as you're still pushing up and back through that tailbone. Start to pedal out the feet. Inhale here, and on your next exhale, step towards the front of the mat into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, bring your hands to your legs, bending the knees and using the hands to walk yourself all the way up. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, palms together, hands to heart center. Take a couple of breaths here just to center yourself. Great. So moving towards the top of your mat, we'll go into some standing We'll lift our 10 toes, plant the toes into the mat, feeling the arches of the feet lift, the knees lift, the muscles of the legs engage, really wrapping around the bones. We'll pull our ribs in, belly button in and up to neutralize the position of the pelvis, shoulders over the hips. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, palms down to the sides. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Inhale up. Exhale, lifting and reaching, extending over to the right. Maybe you gaze up at the sky. Exhaling here. Still rooting down through both feet. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands down to the sides. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, lifting, extending over to the left, reaching through that top arm. Maybe you look up. Exhale here. Inhale back up to center. Exhale down to the sides. Moving to the top of your mat, we'll still use that rooting down through our feet to move into some sun salutations. You've done all the poses that go into these. I will talk you through them. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back into your plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, lower the knees, lower the belly, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale, elbows back, shoulders back, chest lifts for cobra, maybe putting a tiny bit of pressure into the palms. Exhale, tucking the toes, pushing into the hands, lifting the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, stepping forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse that swan dive and come all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands down to the sides. We'll go through that a couple more times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back into your plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale here as you pedal your feet, walk your dog. Push your tailbone to the sky. Exhale, stepping forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. Exhale, palms together, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, step back into your plank pose. Exhale, lower the knees, belly, chest, chin to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, stepping forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse that swan dive, come all the way up. One more. Exhale, hands to the side. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back into your plank pose. Exhale, lower down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, pressing the feet into the mat. Exhale, stepping forward into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, palms down to the sides. That was great. We're going to move into a little balancing here. So your feet come a little closer together. So the toes are almost touching. Toes are still spread, still rooting down through all four corners of the feet. Transfer all of your weight to your left foot and start to lift your right foot off the mat, reaching and interlacing the fingers around the right knee, keeping the hip squared to the front as you lift that knee towards the chest. Inhale here, exhale. Release your left hand. Use your right hand to open the hip and bring the foot to your inner thigh. If this is not comfortable for you, you can bring it to the calf, or you can even place the toes on the mat and open the leg here for your tree pose. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, release the hands, release the foot, and we'll switch sides. Toes close together. Big toes close together. Toes of the right foot are spread as we transfer all of our weight into that foot and begin to lift the left toes off the mat, interlacing the fingers around the knee. If you fall, you just go right back into it. Inhaling here, exhaling, releasing the right hand, using the left hand to open that hip out to the side and bring the right foot to the left foot to the thigh, the calf, or resting the toes on the mat. Bring hands to heart center. Inhaling the arms up overhead. If you're struggling with balance, it sometimes helps to pick a point about 2 feet in front of you that's not moving. Just keep your eyes on that. Exhale, release the hands, release the foot, shake it out. Good. So here we'll move into some strengthening poses and some prep for Warrior 3, which we will not really move into today, but we'll use the prep, and then maybe the next class in this series we'll move into Warrior 3. So we'll start in our mountain pose, which is that pose that we built, rooting in through the feet. Shoulders are up, back, and down over the hips. Chin is tucked slightly, rooting up through the crown of the head. We'll start to bend the knees and move the weight slightly back towards the heels so that we can lift our toes up off the mat as we sink into our chair pose. So we're moving the hips down and the arms up. So we're moving down and reaching up. Good. Inhale here, exhale. On your next inhale, lift the left foot and step back into your crescent pose. So right knee stays bent, all 10 toes are facing forward. You can look up here and add in a little back bend. Inhale, exhale, hands to the mat. Step back into your plank. Inhale here, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right knee comes into the chest and steps forward in between the hands. And root in through the feet as you lift up into your crescent on the other side. And step forward. Bring the hands to the sides. Great. So we'll go back into that crescent. So inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, stepping the right foot back, bending deeply through the left knee. You can widen your stance a little if you're feeling unsteady. Inhale, arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the body forward, hinging at the hips. So not rounding in the back. Back stays long, hinging at the hips, moving the arms back into our airplane arms. And inhale up. Exhale, step forward. Good. We'll do that on the other side. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the side. Inhale, stepping back with the left foot, right knee deeply bent. You can widen the stance if you need to. Knee stays over the ankle. Inhale, the arms up. Ribs and shoulders over the hips. Little back bend here. Exhale. Inhale. Start to sweep the arms back, hinging at the hips. Back stays long, reaching through the crown of the head for your crescent with the halfway fold. Inhale up. Exhale, stepping forward, releasing the hands. Great. We'll make our way back down to the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to plank. Bring the knees wide, like to the sides of the mat. big toes together. Sink the hips back onto your heels, reaching forward. Forehead finds the mat or a block for child's pose. Stay here, breathing. Inhale to rise, moving into a seat. We'll play with some core exercises here. So we'll start in boat pose. So bending the knees, feet are in front of you. Hands come by the hips, fingers pointing in the same direction as the toes. Chest and thighs stay pretty close to each other. Shoulders roll back, chest opens. Start to lift one foot and then the other foot. And then both feet. And then come down. Good. Bring the hands behind the knees. If that felt good to you and you want to progress, chest stays up, lifted. And you can bring one foot up at a time. And then both feet. Staying here, releasing the hands, maybe moving back and forward. And releasing. Good. Rounding. Bring the soles of the feet together. Knees wide for butterfly pose. Inhale the chest up. Exhale, folding forward over the legs. Releasing here into the pose. Maybe nodding the head yes and no. On your next inhale, allowing the breath to carry you back up to your seated position. We'll make our way onto our bellies again here. So just rolling over to your belly in whatever way is comfortable for you. We've played with the cobra pose a little bit. We're now going to play with Sphinx. So very similar, except this time the elbows are under the shoulders. The palms are out in front of you, pressing down into the mat. And inhale as you bring the elbows and shoulders back, lifting the chest off the mat. Head in neutral spine means you're looking straight ahead of you. And exhale down. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. And exhale to lower. Bringing the hands behind you, down by your waist. Thumbs are pointing down. We'll play with locust pose, pointing the toes. Inhale, lifting the legs off the mat. Upper body stays relaxed. Lifting the toes, the knees, the thighs. Exhale, release. Inhale to lift. And exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Now we'll move to the upper body. Inhale, reaching through the fingers as you pull your shoulders back and peel the chest off the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. And we'll put it together and we'll do the whole body. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, reaching through the fingers and the toes, keeping the head in neutral spine, peeling the legs and the chest off the mat, holding here for 3 breaths. And release. Make a little pillow with your hands. Turn your head to one side, maybe wiggle the hips and the shoulders. And we'll roll back over to our backs. Bending the knees, bringing the feet close enough to the hips that you can brush them with your fingertips. Pressing into the hands and into the feet. Lift the hips. Maybe lifting the low back, maybe the mid back. Moving the shoulders towards each other. And exhale, release. Inhale to lift. Maybe you go a little higher this time. As you get to the upper back, start to move your shoulders towards each other. Clasp your fingers under your seat and reach the hands towards your feet. Tuck the chin for bridge pose. Exhale, release the shoulders and the hands. Come down one vertebra at a time, bringing the knees into the chest on your inhale, rolling back and forth, giving yourself a little massage. The arms out wide to a T, release the knees over to the right side. Gaze can be up over the right shoulder or over the left shoulder to deepen the stretch. On your next inhale, bring the knees back to center. And exhale, release. Inhale, knees back to center. Bring your feet together, knees wide, arms up, hands flexed as if you're pressing into the floor. Try to bring your knees into your armpits. Inhale, press, press, press into a tight little ball, pressing the arms and knees against each other. And exhale, release for reclined crow. Inhale one more time, pressing the knees and the arms against each other, pressing through your fingers, feet are active, core is active. Exhale, release. Bringing the knees back into the chest. Plant the left foot into the mat, reach the right foot up toward the ceiling, and then cross the right ankle over the left knee for reclined pigeon pose. Maybe you press the right knee away with your hand, or you can reach between the legs and interlace the fingers around the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin to give yourself a little more stretch. On your next exhale, unwind and release. Plant the right foot into the mat. Inhale, reach the left foot toward the ceiling, and then cross the left foot on top of the right knee, pushing the knee away or reaching through the legs to interlace your fingers. Head and shoulders stay on the mat as you pull the right thigh towards you and push the left knee away. And release. We'll go through our twists one more time, bringing the knees into the chest, arms out wide, dropping the knees to the right, maybe resting the right hand on top of the left knee. And gaze wherever it's comfortable for you. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling, arms out wide, knees drop to the left. Inhaling back to center, giving yourself a little massage. Exhale, stretch out nice and long on your mat. And whatever movement you need to prepare yourself for Shavasana or final resting pose. If you'd like, you can take one of your towels or your blocks and place it under the knees to give the low back a little relief. Legs wide, feet relaxed to the sides of the mat, arms wide. Take up lots and lots of space here. Connecting back to your breath, inhaling and exhaling, releasing that ocean breath, and just returning to your normal rate and rhythm, depth. And if you're comfortable here, closing the eyes. Keeping the arms out wide, or maybe resting one hand on the chest and one hand on the belly. Feeling the belly rise and fall with the breath. Staying here for a few moments to connect to all the work you did in this practice. And to allow that practice to integrate into your body, the strength and the balance that you've cultivated here as we prepare to move toward more challenging poses like Warrior 3. Breathing and relaxing. You've done a lot of work today, and now that work is done, and you have nothing else to do but relax. Allow yourself to be supported by the mat, by the floor, by the earth. Just inhaling and exhaling, allowing any thoughts that arise to pass, just noticing them, not reacting. And we discussed at the beginning the Rumi quote, "Life is a balance between holding on and letting go." So notice anywhere that you're gripping or holding, and just breathe into those spaces and release. Now is the time to let go. Now close our practice with another quote from Rumi. "Your hand opens and closes, opens and closes. If it were always a fist, or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding, the two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as birds' wings." So with each breath, allow yourself to expand and contract. Feeling that presence in every breath and every millimeter of movement during our practice and off the mat and in the rest of your life. Now bringing some movement back into the body, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Bringing that movement up the arms to the shoulders, maybe shrugging the shoulders a little bit. Up the legs to the hips, maybe rolling the hips back and forth on the mat. Turning the neck from side to side. On your next inhale, if it feels good to you, take a nice long stretch and a yawn. And exhale with a sigh. On your next inhale, turn onto your side. Give yourself a moment in the fetal position to just stay connected to that breath and to this beautiful practice that you just did. Experience it. Expand and contract. And on your next inhale, using your hand, push yourself up to a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you, resting the hands on the knees. Eyes can stay closed, or you can allow them to open here. Inhaling and exhaling. And on your next inhale, just gently flutter the eyes open, bringing yourself back to the room, the space around you. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, palms together, hands to heart center. I thank you for joining me today. I hope that you found something useful in this practice, even if it was just that you made the time for yourself to work on building your strength and your balance, able to handle whatever life throws at you. We'll close our practice by inhaling, thumbs to the forehead, maybe massaging that area a little with our thumbs, and exhaling, releasing the hands to the sides. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you on your mat again soon.